and welcome to Batch It, because we are bat shit about The Bachelor. I'm Kristin. This is Reid. All right, Reid, let's dive into it.
Yeah, so Kristin, I guess we'll just start off with, the basic question. What do you think of the episode? What stuck out to you?
The beginning with Lauren just being pissed and the cake. So it's like the episode starts. She's pissed. He's talking to her. She has this cake. She's throwing the cake on the ground, and you're like, oh, shit's going down in this episode.
Was that the same cake as the one she threw later?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they just replayed that part, because what's funny is I watched the episode and then I watched that part and then I rewatched the beginning and I was like, oh, same outfit, same part. So now it's interesting because they did that with the other episode too, where they played like the middle of the episode at the beginning and stuff like that.
Yeah. Honestly, with the cake, I was super offended by that. I was just like, who is this person throwing a cake on the floor? Maybe the other girls want to eat the cake. It looks pretty decent, honestly. And also, it's just like, it wasn't red velvet. I'm like, let's just calm down. Because they got some, intern or whatever to go pick up a cake, I would assume. I doubt they just had it.
Right. And it's funny because they hand her the cake and she's like, thank you. I hope it's red velvet or I'm going to be pissed. And then Joey's like, thank you so much. And he's so nice about it.
Yeah, that was spoiler. She left. She left on her own accord. I didn't think she was going to make it that long anyway.
I'm sad that she left because I feel like there could have been way more drama there.
Well, she was constantly trying to stir the pot on everything.
Which is why I wanted her to stay.
Especially with her sister. That's why I was just like, okay, she can go. I'm tired of hearing about her.
That's fair.
Because I don't know. I mean, I felt bad for her, being brought into the whole wedding scenario. And it's so obvious, especially looking at all the dates that they did, that they purposely went out of their way to make sure, what is the most awkward situation we can put these people in that we know is going to be a problem.
And maybe they wanted to get rid of Lauren. So they were like, let's put her in a really uncomfortable situation.
Why would they want to get rid of her? I feel like it was TV gold, right?
That's what I wanted Lauren to stay a lot longer. This is episode 2 and she's already out,
Yeah.
Which I want to apologize also, because I thought that I said Erica got sent home last episode and then she was in this episode and I was very confused. However, spoiler alert, she did get sent home this episode. But I swear she got sent home last episode.
I mean, we missed a lot of people anyway, because I think we only mentioned 4 or 5 and another 5 left. So it shows they didn't even show them leaving. It shows you how insignificant they thought they were, I guess. But,
right.
So he axed 10 people. Was it 5 this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5. He's getting rid of people pretty fast. They're dropping.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cake thing really stuck out to me. I was just like, ooh, that's a big turn off for me. I wouldn't be somebody's throwing a cake, because it's not only that she threw the cake on the floor, that some other random interns gonna have to pick that up.
Yeah, probably the same intern that just handed it to her 5 minutes before.
Yeah, and actually that was the other thing. There's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One of them I forgot to bring it up last time, and I already forgot again. But this is another time they showed the camera crew. Because Lauren was doing her little independent thought thing or whatever that's called, where they're talking about something that just happened or their thoughts on something, and Joey just wanders over there and it's like, "Hey, how's it going?" You know what I'm talking about? And then she's just like,
"Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize they showed people then."
I mean, they didn't show any of the crew, but they showed the equipment and stuff.
Huh? Interesting. Okay.
And this isn't the type of show that shows that stuff. At least I thought it wasn't.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
they're mixing it up. They're trying something new.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of honestly...
More drama.
I liked that he did that because... Honestly, I really like him because I think the fact that he actually did that, because they probably told him oh, don't go over there. And he's like, I'll do whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah.
And he went over there and asked her. And I guess it ended up, blowing up in his face because she's like, I'm leaving. And he's like, oh, okay.
I mean, did you see that coming, or were you shocked when she said that?
I didn't think she was leaving right away. I thought she was going to drag out for a few more episodes.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, but I was like, I found her kind of stirring the pot too much on things that I didn't really think mattered all that much. So I wasn't too sad to see her go.
Well, and then Allison, they showed her crying and really upset that her sister left. Which is interesting because I feel like a part of me would be like, okay, cool. now I can be here without my sister. And like, and her sister was kind of bringing her down.
Yeah.
Like the last rose ceremony when she was pissed that she got the first rose, and Allison was like, I can't control that,
Yeah.
So that was maybe hindering her experience. But I also get where she's coming from and being sad of losing her support system.
Yeah. It makes me wonder too, like, how emotionally damaging is this show? Because people are always saying those types of things, like, I need my support system, et cetera, et cetera. This is really hard and whatever. And I'm thinking, like, what is going on back there?
Behind the scenes. I feel like it would be hard. You can't talk to your family. You can't talk to your friends. You're making these decisions. You want to look good on TV. You're around all these girls that are super pretty. I mean, I can imagine. And then you're being, I would assume, somewhat manipulated by producers. So I could see that being like an intimidating environment.
Yeah, and we can just jump into trying to look pretty with Maria. And Maria kind of won me over a little bit this episode. And I know my parents, they don't like her, but I didn't think she was that bad. But I did have to roll my eyes. And she's like, I can't breathe in this outfit. And I was like, well, why do you even wear it at all? And obviously that was a scam. And the moment she said, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable, I'm like, okay, let's see what she's coming. And she was wearing, to be fair, she was wearing more clothes than I thought she would be. But yeah, what did you think about that?
No, I agree. I thought she was, when she said, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable, I thought she's going to come in like lingerie and a robe. And some girls out of the limo, not this season, but in previous seasons, out of the limo, they've come out in like lingerie before. And so I was like, oh shit, she's going to come out in lingerie. But, and then she comes out and you're like, okay. And I thought it was funny when she walks back into the room with all the girls.
The contempt in all
their eyes.
And
I think you could tell some of the girls were like shocked, and some of the girls were like, oh, that's just her. Like, some of the girls just didn't care.
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I'd be shocked because there's like, why do you change clothes?
Right. And you had time to do that. I thought you were talking to him for 10 minutes. I could have talked to him in that 2 minutes that you were changing. That's what I would have thought.
Yeah, I wonder how fast that turnaround was. Did they cut out, like, how long was he just like, just sitting there, just like, well, I thought we were having a good time. And I mean, he had a great time afterwards. It seems like it worked for him.
As they made out the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Maria, I think you've kind of always been a fan of Maria. I feel like previous episodes, I was like, you can tell she's going to be around for a long time. But, she's not my favorite. But I can tell he really likes her. But actually, this episode, I agree. I think she turned around for me, and I did like it. I did like to see her.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of on board now.
Yeah, on the Maria train. Yeah. But yeah, jumping back a little bit, we went into the that was a part of the classic wedding, the Bachelor wedding date, because I knew it, like, they do this almost every season.
Yeah, but this was early on in the season, I feel like, for them to do it, which was surprising. But they kind of did it a little different because it wasn't like wedding photos, which I feel like is usually what they do. It was more of like how they interact with other people, like at a reception.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
That was the first time I've seen that. Normally it's the wedding photos. And I was wondering, I'm like, who are these people they're talking to? I'm like, do they know any? I don't think any of them know who these people. They're just people they picked up off the street.
I agree. I think so too.
And there's like, I mean, if I was walking around LA, that's where they film it, right?
I think so, yeah. Okay. When they're in the mansion, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, hey, you want to be in this? Sure. I'll sit there and like talk to these people. Why not? So, but yeah. And what was her name? Evelyn. She really made a show there.
Oh my gosh, jumping on the table and still didn't get the seat. And Lauren had the best seat.
Yeah, Lauren did have the best seat. I mean, she kind of screwed herself anyway. And I just like how she was, even if she hadn't left, I kind of felt like she was going to get sent home the next episode anyway, because she's just like, I don't even want to talk to him, and I'm upset. Like, that's a terrible idea. That's how you actively destroy yourself on this show.
Yeah.
And because I've seen plenty of times before where there's like, you didn't even try and find me. And then they get dumped for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that table jump was pretty epic. I mean, they showed in slow-mo and everybody's face and whatever. Definitely, I don't think that was staged.
No, I mean, yeah, she's athletic. And it was good to see more of her because I do like her. She cried again in this episode. And I feel like there's always a person that cries a lot. I guess there's multiple people that cry a lot. And she was crying in the episode later on. But it was good to see her in that setting. Just be hardcore competitive.
Yeah, definitely. I think I feel like that always gives you big points on the show. Like
For sure.
if you're super competitive, it's that always gets you huge points.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I feel like that gets you just like, oh, this will get you that date or whatever. The date roads, which actually is what happened here. But I mean, how do you feel about Jess? I feel like she pulled that Uno reverse card there.
Yeah, Jess, I think, is the villain.
You really think so?
Yeah, especially because I thought that it was going to be Jess or Taylor. Another spoiler alert, Taylor goes home. So we know that Taylor's not the villain now. So I have a feeling that Jess is the villain. Jess kissed him in front of everyone again. Which at this point, multiple people have kissed him. You know, it's fine. But I just feel like she's the villain in my eyes.
I just feel like she kind of just faded out. Like everybody's like, okay, she's there. And it ended up being between Maria and I can't remember her name.
Sydney,
yeah. I kind of felt like that's going to be the big drama. And she's going to be overshadowed by them. And maybe she'll be, because I kind of felt like it's going to be Maria and Sydney are the villains or whatever. I don't really see either of them as like villains per se in that situation. I just thought it was kind of dumb.
Yeah. No, I agree. But what do you like Jess? Do you not like Jess? You're neutral about her. What are your opinions of her?
I think I kind of like her, but which I think is a hot take. But I guess that's why I made that the description of the show. Okay. Is a hot take. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, she's obviously done some things where I like cringe. It's like, oh, don't do that. That's such a bad idea. Yeah. Because like I feel like after watching this show enough, and these people, I hope we had at least watched it once. You can look and see like, okay, this is not something you should do.
Right.
It always gets you in trouble and people will be mad at you. And so I kind of rolled my eyes at that. And how do you feel about Maria handling the drama or whatever?
The age situation. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about that. What exactly happened?
So I can't remember what. I'm so bad with
Marlena.
Yeah, Marlena was getting all emotional because she's 31. And she said she felt really old and insecure about that or something, especially since she was the oldest one there. And, you know, after that whole little crowd dispersed, I think Maria was talking to Taylor, who's also like the youngest person there.
Right. Yeah, Taylor's 23. And Maria was just like,
who cares? Like, I'm older. And I thought it was interesting that she said Joey would probably like it more.
And she was like, that's actually an advantage. Probably. And she's like, I'm also old, which was I guess whether or not she said that is up in the air because that was, I think, what the dispute was about. But she, I think, was implying, you know, I'm also one of the oldest girls here and I feel like I'm hot and I'm good and I'm fine with it and I don't think I'm old and like I support you.
Yeah.
And you're 31, who cares?
Yeah, I feel like they were just trying to manufacture this problem out of nothing. But at least from what the previews looks like, it looks like they're going to have, the beloved pool party date. And I think that's when I think they're trying to fake us out and thinking like, oh, she's going to get sent home. I don't think she's going to get sent home next week, at least.
No, I think she's going to be around for a while.
The villains normally don't get dumped.
Yeah.
The first episode.
So you think that Maria is going to be a villain?
It's either Maria or Sydney. At least, at the moment, Jess is kind of faded out in the background. She's just there. Okay. And it's Maria and Sydney right now. I mean, maybe this will be resolved really quickly. I mean, Joey seems like a nice guy, so he might be the type of person that's just like, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
Right away.
Well, and Sydney said in, the sneak peek for the next episode, it kind of shows Sydney going over to Joey to talk to him. And usually the person that brings that up to the lead gets sent home.
Oh, the snitch never makes it. You don't want to be the snitch. It's better to say nothing.
So Sydney could be on the chopping block. I also think that Joey would keep Maria over Sydney because I feel like there's more chemistry with Maria over Sydney.
At least she has more screen time.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say, you're right, because we don't see him with Sydney. But also, if there was chemistry with Sydney, they'd be showing her more.
Oh, yeah. They always love showing people's sucking face. So... So maybe there wasn't really anything there. I mean, on that note, there was somebody who disappeared practically from the episode, and that was Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, she was barely in it at all. And there was a couple blurbs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting because she's been a main in the past, you know, I mean, last episode, she was a big part of that episode.
Yeah.
So
I think it might be the type of typical thing where it's like, you know, she's obviously a front runner. She got the first impression rose.
Yeah.
And she's going to be the type of person that like comes in real hard and then, you know, fades out to the middle. And then they start panicking because they feel like they haven't, you know, whatever, grown their relationship. And then they kind of come in at the end. Because I seriously, it looked like they were on the beach in one of the sneak peeks. I don't think she's, I'd be just shocked if she's going anywhere. And they were trying to fake us out during the rose ceremony. She's like, oh, I'm all scared. And I'm just like, I'm not scared for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they probably showed her a lot. So they're probably like, let's give some other people some screen time because fans are already really into her and know that she's going to stick around.
Yeah, I don't think she's going anywhere. The first impression rose is like almost always a huge tell.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, I mean, obviously, I think I totally called this while I was watching this. I thought it was going to be Daisy who got the first or the one-on-one.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was interesting because Daisy, she got the first one-on-one. And usually the person that gets the first one-on-one that makes it really far, there's always a time at the end where somebody gets 2 one-on-ones. Or the person is like, I had my one-on-one first. That was such a long time ago. I need more time with him. I need another one-on-one. And it's like always like drama. And so I think having the first one-on-one is bittersweet.
Yeah, and I guarantee you're totally right. She's totally going to be in that same situation. But I mean, I feel like they have to do that to the people. It's like, well, this is a nice person, and she seems like adjusted. So I don't think she's going to get into anything unless we force it into her. Because I feel like too they purposely went out of their way to be like, let's pick something that's really loud.
Yeah.
So she can't hear that well.
I know, and that kind of puts her in a tough boat.
Yeah. I felt bad about that.
But she handled it like a champ.
Yeah, I mean, she did real well, and I mean, I thought her story was even more serious than I thought it was because she didn't mention she had like Lyme disease and etc.
Right, and went through all of that, and that would be hard as a teenager to go through all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like it was just 2 years prior is when she got that figured out finally.
Right. Yeah, and now being in this setting, that would be hard. And I think Joey took it really well too and was supportive, which is no surprise to me. I could have totally imagined Joey reacting the way he reacted.
Oh, I knew he was. What was he going to say? Like, no?
Right.
And yeah, so I don't see a world where she's not like in the top 2.
Yeah, I think she's going to make it up there for sure.
I just don't see it. She's giving me those big runner-up flags though, just because like I'm liking her too much, and she'll be the Bachelorette instead.
That's exactly what I think. I think she's got the Bachelorette written all over her, which I love that. I think she has a good story. I think she's an inspiration. She has the nonprofit. I mean, she has a lot of things going for her. And I think Joey has chemistry with her for sure, but I feel like he has better chemistry with other people. But I can see her making it really far.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she had a good date with him, and it was this is something also, another game I love to play, is like when there's 2 group dates or multiple dates, which date's the better one? And it's very clear which one was the better one in this situation.
Which one did you like better?
No, I'm saying it has to be the contestant.
Oh.
Like you'd much rather be in the wedding dress than like running around lifting tires, right?
And throwing paint. I feel like the throwing paint, that would have been fun.
It would have been, but Edwina is my total hero because they're just like, the rules are you have to go get that. There's no other rules. And I'm thinking, okay, why not just run over there and get it? And apparently she's the only person who thought, I'm just going to run over and get it.
Yeah, Edwina tackled it. For sure. She did awesome.
I assume if they did that with the guys, then people would just be getting ripped down and whatnot.
Yeah. And what did you think about, they had Demi and the other girl that started with a J come on and kind of host the date.
Oh yeah, I didn't recognize them. It's probably during the little intermission I guess I took from The Bachelor, so I didn't recognize them.
Yeah.
Do you know them?
Demi has been big on Bachelor in Paradise. I think she was on for sure 2 seasons of Bachelor in Paradise. And yeah, she's fun and funny, and you can tell that by the date, when she's filing her nails and just doing her own thing.
You think
that's definitely like the character that she is in The Bachelor is just kind of like the fun, go lucky.
Yeah. I definitely think that date also ended up being the loser date that you didn't want to be on, because they're just like, oh, if you win the game, you're going to get more time with Joey. And then they're like, nope, where only one of you is going to.
And they didn't even tell you until the end. So they expected all these girls to get dolled up in their hair and makeup and take hours to get ready just to say, nope, one person, Edwina.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. I was just like, wow, what a waste of time for them. But
Yeah.
also, maybe I kind of get the feeling that like you have nothing to do while you're on that show unless you're on one of the dates. So maybe you're just like, well, it's something to do.
That's true. Yeah.
Because I can't remember who it was, but the girl that made the like the jacket or whatever.
Oh, that was Evelyn.
I thought that was really nice, but I was thinking too, like, well, she's got nothing to do. She's
Yeah.
just sitting there, so good for her figuring out something.
Well, I was wondering if she made that before she came on the show or at the mansion.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe she made like most of it before the show and kind of like customized it a little bit or something.
Right. Like when it was here for the right reasons. Maybe she put that in like when she got on the show.
Yeah.
Or something.
Have you noticed that like ABC's like figured out that meme? Because they're just like, because I've seen some of the ads that are just like, because there's this one ad's just like, we know you're here for the right reasons. And like, hey.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They are all about that.
Yeah. So
sure.
it's funny that they're getting into that. So who's, yeah, I'm trying to see what else. Yeah, so I guess we're kind of jumping all over the place, but then we go back and then, you know, how do you feel about that first dance?
Yeah, you know what I loved? I love that Rachel got more time, more screen time. I love that Rachel kind of, I feel like won the competition, I guess, if you will. And she did a great speech. She did a great job talking to the guests. And I've been really wanting to see more of her because I feel like they haven't showed her much. So I loved seeing that. And I felt like I kind of did see some chemistry there. Yeah, just getting the one-on-one row or just getting the group date rows, I didn't love. But no, I think that was great to see. And I feel like Rachel looked beautiful in that dress.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Rachel did well with her speech. I mean, I always kind of like cringe at those because, like, obviously it's just like, oh, all of your exes, you know, and they're like all right there, but especially to this crowd of people that I don't think any of them knew. But I mean, the moment Jess went on and told about her sad previous relationship, I knew she was going to get it.
Okay, go ahead.
When you open up with that, they're always just like, oh, thank you for sharing your soul. And like, yeah, that's totally important. But I feel like if you do that, like that almost guarantees you success, at least for that week.
I wasn't expecting Jess to get the rose. I was expecting either Rachel to get it or Evelyn, since Evelyn jumped over the table. Or I was expecting Lauren to talk to him one-on-one and tell her sob story about her dad and then gotten the rose from that. And that could have been a missed opportunity on her part.
I thought honestly. She did tell him that happened.
She told him, but not during the date. I think she told him at the rose ceremony or at the cocktail party. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. It was at the cocktail party, but maybe he'd already made his decision or whatever.
Right. I think it was after the opportunity for her to get that group date rose. You know, she didn't really talk to him that whole day. Which was interesting because she was sitting right by him.
Yeah, she didn't want it. She didn't want to be there for whatever reason. And, you know.
And I understand that would be hard. But that would have been a good opportunity for her to open up and, you know. But, you know, obviously she was feeling uncomfortable. And that's okay.
Honestly, now the more I think about it, I appreciate her because it's very rare that somebody on this show, like, leaves. Just because they're like, you know, I'm not feeling it.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's kind of nice because it's just like, you know, these people do have some level of agency that normally it's just like, nope, you're just with this person unless they dump you.
Right. Well, and it's funny because when she left, when she was hugging him goodbye, she said, maybe I'll see you at Hometowns. And she said it very quietly, but I picked it up because I remember saying in our last episode, oh my gosh, what if Allison makes it far? And then they go and see Lauren at the hometown date. But now it won't be as dramatic because Lauren didn't make it very far. So if Allison does have a hometown date, I don't think it'd be that awkward.
Do you think she'll get a hometown date?
I can see her being up there, but maybe like number 5. So maybe not making it to hometowns quite yet. I see Daisy being up there, Maria. I still think Kelsey A. They don't show her very much, but for some reason
he mentioned her specifically.
I feel like he likes her a lot. And I guess Allison is
Leia.
up there too. Leia, oof. Yeah, I think Leia's going to be up there over Allison. I think those 4 girls and then Allison number 5.
I mean, Allison did get the kiss the first night, which I think is a big deal. It's like 5 or 6 people did, so that's kind of unlock. And I think your front runners are kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
The only other person that I might put in, and I know you're going to be like, whatever, Reid, if it was, I just get this feeling that I think Jess is going to go somewhere in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it in your face.
It's interesting because I feel like you like Jess, but also I think Kelsey A is kind of a, it's not maybe the most popular choice either on my end.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty like neutral on that right now, but I think he definitely likes her because he mentioned her specifically.
Yeah.
At something or another, but yeah, I mean the show, this whole season's like kind of surprising me because he's like very calm and capable of like listening to people and how he talks to people and whatnot. I'm like, wow, he's so respectful.
Yeah, and it was fun to see him play tennis with Jesse Palmer.
Yeah.
And I think it was just cool to see him in his element and just them play tennis back and forth, really casual. And I think Joey's presence is very calming. And it's funny because I feel like sometimes bachelors in the past are really frantic feeling, like kind of what you were saying. And that probably causes the contestants to be frantic as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't seen somebody like that on the show before as like the main person. It's very, it's just really strange to me. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just like what it is. It's like he's going out of his way to do things that he could just never do and they wouldn't care.
Right.
Like, he's like, oh, I just came to check up on you. And it's like, who does that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they never do that. It's always the other way around.
Yeah.
It's like he's putting in some level of effort being like, oh yeah, I actually have to like do something here to, engage in this relationship with you too.
Mm-hmm. Who did you think was going to get the one-on-one on the sport date? I mean, on the paint throwing Bachelor Bootcamp.
I kind of thought it was going to be Edwina because she just took off. It was either Edwina or the other girl. Can't remember who it was who won the other heart.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about that whole thing with Edwina?
Which whole thing?
Because she was talking. She's like, oh, I'm really it's not easy for me to open up because I came from the African household. And
right.
whatnot.
Yeah, no, I think it was good for her to share that. And I think it's awesome that I feel like on recent seasons of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, they've been having kind of more of those conversations, like, talking about race and talking about, how they grew up and how they felt growing up. And I think that's awesome for people to see. And I think that's awesome for The Bachelor to do. Because I feel like way, way back in the day, The Bachelor and Bachelorette, they weren't really very diverse. And now it's awesome to see a diverse cast and diverse leads. And so I admire her for opening up and saying that. And you could tell that she felt uncomfortable saying that. But I'm proud of her for doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it was good for a lot of people to hear.
And it was the smart thing to say anyway, because like, if since she's just saying like, it's hard for me to open up, just saying that, he's like, okay, now his expectations are in place and he feels like she's getting there. She's just not there yet all the way. Which I think is, that was the right way to go. Cause I feel like the Bachelorette always gets very antsy if you don't start telling them, very emotional things pretty quickly. And maybe that's just to do with like the timeline because it's so fast, but at least for me, I'm looking at it, it's like they've known in like 2 days or
I know.
3 days or whatever, and they're like already coming out with this stuff. Some of it's more serious than others, but
well, and you think about a second date. If you go on a second date with someone, you aren't going to tell them your deepest, darkest secret. And if you're being filmed on TV in front of millions of people, you're probably like, if I say this right now, then it's not just Joey hearing it, it's all of America hearing it.
Yeah, it was none of these things. I was like, oh my gosh, why are you saying this time around? But I mean, they definitely were, pretty serious, but it wasn't anything where it's like really startling or whatever. But that only happens every once in a while where somebody has a story like that.
Yeah. Right.
There's just isn't a whole ton of drama yet, I feel like.
Right. It's very silly. Like the age thing is very silly. I can see them dropping that, but I can also see them dragging it out for 2-3 episodes because I feel like sometimes in the show, just something ridiculous happens and it just continues on. However, with, just kind of causing some drama in last week's episode, well, now all of a sudden, Jess doesn't even get any screen time.
Yeah, she's gone.
Right? So, I wonder how that's going to track into future episodes. And it's interesting because I thought Jess and Taylor were going to have this kind of battle throughout a couple episodes. And now they aren't showing Jess and Taylor's gone. So, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they're going to focus a little bit more on Maria and Sydney. But I hope that we can just move on from this. Because really what it had to do with is actually I think her name is Medina.
Yeah, it was Medina.
Okay. So it has to do with Medina, and Medina is not even really being shown or really in the picture.
I didn't think she really cared that much.
Right. So, and it was funny that they did Sydney as the last rose, of course. We all saw that coming.
Yeah, I knew it. I mean, they always, put the loser camera up, oh, is this person going to get dumped? And they do a lot of people where it's like, no. There's no way. It's just like they put up Leia on the loser camera. I was like, okay, let's not pretend that she's the loser.
Right.
Or whatever. And then they put Sydney up and that was a lock that she was going to be last. I think they do that just to torment those people.
Yeah.
And maybe I was wondering too, maybe they get so antsy waiting for that rose because that's not taking 5 minutes.
Right.
Maybe they're standing there for an hour. They could be.
Right. Well, and I heard the rose ceremonies are long, so maybe at that point they had already been standing there for 5 hours, so when it comes to the last rose, it's like, okay, let's get on with it.
Yeah, that would totally get to you. I would just love to, put this under a microscope and see what is actually happening. Mm-hmm. And, how long are they here and what is the influence over everything? Because I'm wondering if it's just is this whole thing just some, they would say in Love is Blind, an experiment? Because it feels like that. It's just seeing, what are people willing to tolerate and what will take to push them over the edge?
Yeah. Okay, so you think they're kind of doing it just to get these people riled up a little bit?
Doesn't hurt. I mean, if you're riled up or emotional, you're definitely going to do something dumb, or you're more likely to anyway. And then that means you're going to, get the better TV ratings.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Because at least, as a TV network, they don't want to have somebody who's just a total hot mess. But they also don't want to have somebody who's just capable of making good decisions the whole time, because they want to keep around those people that are, kind of a problem. And I feel like Joey is going to be the type of person who just makes good decisions, and those people just kind of go away.
Right, and that's what's sad. I agree. I think Joey is going to make good decisions, and so I think I love his season so far, but I can see some people being bored because I think he is going to do a lot of things the right way and respectful, and he's not really a messy person, it seems.
Yeah, it sounds like he's here for the right reasons. Do you have any closing thoughts? What do you think next week's going to be like?
Well, let's talk about let's talk about dates for next week. How many group dates, how many one-on-one dates, or 2-on-1? Who knows? I
don't think they'll go to a 2-on-1. Joey doesn't even know about this thing with Maria and Sydney yet.
True.
So he won't do the 2-on-1 until the following week if it's a big problem. It's probably going to be another 1-on-1, which it was the tennis one. I mean, they showed the back of her, so I probably could have analyzed and figured out who it was, but I can't remember exactly who it was. But there's going to be that for sure. And then there's the pool party date, which I'm not sure if that's like a group date or that's just something they like do.
Yeah, because sometimes they cancel the cocktail party, but they do the pool party. I don't know. Maybe it'll be that type of situation.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you think will get the one-on-one?
Maybe it's gonna be like Kelsey A or something, or it might be what is her name? Maybe it's like Evelyn or something, right? She was the one who jumped in the chair.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going with that one.
I could see Evelyn as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be someone who I don't think is in our top 5.
No, I definitely don't. I don't think it's going to be any of the people that got like a ton of screen time right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Evelyn. I think he's going to want to see more of her. I think that producers kind of set it up to where we want to know more about her. Mm-hmm. So I could see that as well. Controversial but brave comment. Worst case scenario, it's Jess.
I don't think it will be. I don't think the person playing... No, I don't think she's going to get that type of time. But I don't think it will be anyway. I think she'll just be somebody at the pool party. But
yeah,
I'd be shocked if it was her.
Yeah, I know. And I apologize for people that like Jess. I don't have anything
okay.
directly
I'm not
against
offended.
her. But, you know, she stirred up the pot. And even though Lauren stirred up the pot, you know, some people like different types of pot stirring.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe you like a stew rather than like a soup or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Lauren was just trying to stir the pot with her sister specifically.
Right, I agree.
And I'm just like, why are you doing this?
I feel like Jess is stirring the pot with all the girls, which is what which is what rubbed me the wrong way. And I agree. I think Lauren was just kind of flippy-flopping with Allison. Yeah. You know, of, hey, we're buddies, but also we're in a competition.
Yeah, I just can't figure out with Jess if like she was doing that because she wanted to like make people mad, or if it was just like, oh, you know, I'm so excited this happened. I haven't figured that out yet. But she definitely stirred the pot, and I was like, oh, you shouldn't have said anything. That was a bad idea. But you can't discount. She was the first person to get a kiss.
She was, and she did open up, which I really appreciate. And she looks like Hannah Brown, so I feel like that could work in her advantage. You know, and maybe now you're right. At this point, she kissed him in front of everybody, and everyone's like, "We kissed him, whatever." You know, and maybe now it's not really as controversial as it was episode 1.
I feel like they've shown a lot of kissing from as far as the other contestants can see too. Which feels different to me. I
know, and I do think that Jess handled that well when Rachel was dancing with him at the wedding date and she won the dance, and Jess did kind of make a joke out of it and was like, yep, I was looking over here and not looking at them kiss, and you know, just trying to pretend it wasn't happening.
Well, I don't want to watch that. Like, who would want to see that?
No way. So I feel like she handled that well also, because that has to be a very difficult situation. And then you think if you win, or maybe you don't want to call it win, if you're the finalist, then you have to watch all of that. And if you were there on that date, then you kind of already saw him kiss other girls. So that would be difficult. You know, you have to kind of become numb to the situation.
I guess so, yeah. But I think it'll be an interesting one. It looks like they're showing the drama is going to happen, but I don't know if we'll hit the climax of that drama next episode.
Yeah. I think there will be another small... kind of like similar to the Maria and Sydney situation. I think Maria and Sydney are going to sort it out, and I think that issue is going to be pushed to the side. And then I think 2 other cast members are going to get in like a tiny argument like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be... I just feel like it's going to be something we haven't really seen that much of, because Sydney kind of came out of nowhere with this thing, and it was like, okay.
Right.
It's like,
and Sydney didn't even get that much airtime, and now all of a sudden she's in the middle of this drama.
I mean, that's how you get the airtime.
True.
Yeah, well, I think... do you have any final thoughts?
I think that's it. I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
Yeah, so don't forget to catch it on Monday or at Tuesday at 3 a.m. if you're watching on Hulu. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope that you will accept this rose today.
Bye.
Bye.